Good evening, friends. Welcome to our 12 Days of Christmas program. Tonight is fireside Yuletide cheer with Keshava, friends, and most importantly with God. And in absence of a real fireplace and a roaring, crackling fire and chestnuts, I invite you to use one of mankind's precious gifts from God, your own imagination. And let's begin together with a prayer. And before I do, just to invoke the light-hearted, good sense of humor of the divine, let's actually read real quick so what Swami Kriyananda writes about humor in his book Affirmations for Self-Healing. And I don't want us to get off on too heavy of a foot, but actually he paints a beautiful illustration as to the real necessity for a good sense of humor in our spiritual life, and what to speak of the times we're currently living in. So Swamiji writes, "A good sense of humor is an effective means of keeping a sense of perspective through the trials and difficulties of life. By not taking things too seriously, one develops non-attachment. One should not laugh too much, however, lest the mind become light and one's view of life superficial. Thus one needs to achieve a sense of perspective where humor itself is concerned. The best way to do so is to share one's laughter with God, to laugh with the sense of His joy within. Never laugh at people, but rather with them. For humor should be kindly, not sarcastic. Laugh with pure delight, then everyone will join you in your laughter." So with that in mind, let's take a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, dearest friend, beloved God, great masters of Kriya Yoga, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, beloved Guru Paramahansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, we bow before you all. Be with us this evening. Inspire us with your wonderful sense of humor and good cheer. Help us to feel your message of joy bubbling upwards in our souls. And, O Lord, help us to delight ever in life's comedy, and help us to see by it that true sanity lies in Thee alone. Om Peace. Amen. So as I'm sure many of you know, good senses of humor and witticisms lie aplenty in the field of Palo Alto's congregation members. And so this evening I'll be sharing a few jokes from a wonderful book that was given to me by Karen Gamow, and also highlighting some additional content from some friends of ours. And so we'll get to experience some good humor from a number of different minds, also appreciating the humor of P.G. Wodehouse briefly, a humorist that Swami Kriyananda loved. And I invite you to just try and jump in with both feet, with an open heart, and with an easy laugh. So to begin, I thought I'd start with a joke that maybe resonates a little bit too close to home at this particular time in all of our lives. And it goes like this. When Thompson hit 70, he decided to change his lifestyle so completely that he could live longer. He went on a strict diet. He jogged, he swam, and he took sunbaths. In just 3 months' time, Thompson lost 30 pounds, reduced his waist by 6 inches, and expanded his chest by 5 inches. Svelte and tan, he decided to top it off with a sporty new haircut. Afterwards, while stepping out of the barber shop, he was hit by a bus. As he lay dying, he cried out, "God, how could you do this to me?" And as he was leaving his body, he heard a voice respond to him, "To tell you the truth, Thompson, I didn't even recognize you." And so, welcome to 2020 with that light joke. That maybe the joke is that God just doesn't recognize us. That this was a karma destined for another world, and when we die, we'll get to hear God say that. "Oh, that was you. Oops." Now, on that same front of 2020 being a year of things in a slightly different bhav, I discovered this rewrite of a classic Christmas carol that I thought we could all sing together as well in the spirit of fireside entertainment. And this is a reimagination of We Three Kings, but if they had to make that pious pilgrimage under 2020 conditions. And so just like normal, I encourage you to join me in the chorus because it will repeat a few times and I'm sure you'll catch on quick. So this is We Three Kings of, they didn't actually come up with a better title, but We Three Kings of Quarantine are. We three kings are 6 feet apart. Will Purell before we depart? We've been tested as suggested. Careful are we and smart. Oh, do our masks go with our gowns? Do these face shields cover our crowns? We've had plenty of 2020, still headed toward David's town. Melchior is now quarantined, stuck in Persia, so it would seem. No more travel on a camel till there's a good vaccine. Oh, do our masks go with our gowns? Do these face shields cover our crowns? We've had plenty of 2020, still headed toward David's town. Balthazar has lost his taste. Eating food is now such a waste. How disquieting, now he's dieting. Life now is slower paced. Oh, do our masks go with our gowns? Do these face shields cover our crowns? We've had plenty of 2020, still headed toward David's town. Casper left the caravan. He postponed his stargazing plans. No more roaming, now he's homing, scrubbing his reddened hands. Oh, do our masks go with our gowns? Do these face shields cover our crowns? We've had plenty of 2020, still headed toward David's town. Oh, do our masks go with our gowns? Do these face shields cover our crowns? We've had plenty of 2020, still headed toward David's town. That was the reality show version of We Three Kings. It sounds like the survival of the fittest. How many of them really made it to the manger that year, we're not really sure. But the good news is, if only these three, or rather I should say, if only these three kings had known about Asha's supply of fantastic holiday masks, they wouldn't have to worry about if it matched their gowns. So now let's take a break from me for a little bit and let's take a look at what David Gamow has to offer for us this holiday season. He has rewritten a famous piece from the musical Hamilton, which if you haven't yet seen it, perhaps you'll enjoy it. And Unfortunately, we were going to show the original version first so you could appreciate the change in the lyrics, but due to copyright issues and Disney being one of the biggest corporations in the world, we decided not to do that. So, in case you haven't seen the play, the original version of this song is sung by King George when America declares their independence. And it's his song telling the colony that though they think themselves to be so independent, just wait, they'll be back. So enjoy.
Good evening and Merry Christmas. I've decided to spoof a song, and the song that I've chosen is from the play Hamilton, the musical Hamilton, which is a marvelous production. If you haven't seen it, go ahead. It's been quite a national phenomenon. And this particular song is sung by King George. He's very disappointed that America, the colonists, want to break away from England. So he sings this song to them. His work, Geoffrey Goff, the original Broadway fellow who did it, is so magnificent. And the spoofs are more fun if you know the original. So I've decided to append to this recording Geoffrey Goff doing the original. It's only about 3 minutes, and I think you'll really get a kick out of it. And then right after that, I will do my spoof, sort of the newest version of this song. His work is so marvelous. I think you'll enjoy it. Hopefully you'll enjoy both. I get the sense that he's a little better at some of these things than I am, but one does what one can. Enjoy, and thanks for joining us tonight. You say the price of my love is a price that you're happy to pay. You cry as you incarnate here, and you feel that your life's a bit dry. Why so blue? Remember we had an arrangement to meet here on earth. Just stay true. Now you found me again, and you know your soul's great worth. You've come back just once more, and you know you've been down here before. You've come back to get it done. Just remember that you've almost won. Commas rise, spirits fall, but you know I'll see you through it all. For when push comes to shove, the one thing you know you can count on is my love. La da 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 da, da ya da ya da da da. Da 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 ya da 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 ya da ya da ya da 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 da. You say our love is endless and helps you go forth. I'll help your energy climb your spine and go north. And no, don't change the subject, 'cause God should be your project. You'll never be a reject. Don't feel distraught or abject. No, never, no, never. Not ever, not ever, not ever. You've come back just once more, but this is it. You will be back no more. With my love, you'll be free, and soon you'll be back home here with me. Once you're gone, you'll be light, so hang in there, don't give up the fight. 'Cause when push comes to shove, you will soar above all this and be forever lost inside my love. La da 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 da, da ya da ya da ya da. Da 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 ya da 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 ya da ya da ya da 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 ya da.
Box. Okay, looks like we're back. Great. I did the old "you can't hear me" joke. All right, so thank you to David Gamow. If that wasn't apparent, I'm sorry, I sort of dropped the ball in introducing it. He rewrote it to be that it was the guru talking to his disciple instead of King George talking to the colonies. So now I want to share another joke from this wonderful book, which I'll plug, by the way, because I've enjoyed reading it. It's called Plato and a Platypus Walk into a Bar, and it's understanding philosophy through jokes. And the authors are quite funny, and they share some excellent jokes, which I'm now sharing with you. So maybe actually don't bother getting the book because I'm giving you the highlights. Not quite. But so this is one that rung a chord, I think, for all of us here in 2020 when we're all wondering, if there is a God, does he have a plan after all? And I think this joke sheds some light on that question itself. Alvin is working in his store when he hears a booming voice from above that says, "Alvin, sell your business." He ignores it. The voice goes on for days, saying, "Alvin, sell your business for $3 million." After weeks of this, he relents and sells his store. The voice says, "Alvin, go to Las Vegas." Alvin asks why. "Alvin, just take the $3 million and go to Las Vegas." Alvin obeys, goes to Las Vegas, and visits a casino. The voice says, "Alvin, go to the blackjack table and put it all down on one hand." Alvin hesitates, but gives in. He's dealt an 18. The dealer has a 6 showing. "Alvin, take a card." What? But the dealer has "take a card." Alvin tells the dealer to hit him, and he gets an ace. 19. He breathes easy. "Alvin, take another card." What? "Take another card." Alvin asks for another card. It's another ace. He has 20. "Alvin, take another card." The voice commands. "I have 20. Alvin shouts. "Take another card," booms the voice. "Hit me," Alvin says. He gets another ace. 21. And the booming voice cries, "Unbelievable!" Ah, I love that joke. Just right out of left field. I love that so much of humor is about setting an expectation and then shattering it. And this comes in the section of the book where philosophers are discussing of whether or not God actually has a plan, or if God's sort of figuring things out on the go like we are. And I love this idea that God is telling him, take another card because he can't believe the probability of it either. And, there are times when we have divine guidance in our lives, and there's times when perhaps we're wondering if it's God telling us to just take one more card. But anyway, there's another excuse me, maybe it's this chair. Asha has trouble sometimes with her throat when she sits in this chair, and now I'm suddenly having it. There's this other wonderful joke that I wanted to share before I release you, and we'll watch some P.G. Wodehouse. But this is sort of variations on a theme that Master and Swami would often tell, jokes about Irishmen, Scotsmen, and Englishmen drinking beer in pubs and how they would deal with that situation. And so this is sort of lovingly in that vein. An Irishman walks into a Dublin bar, orders 3 pints of Guinness, and drinks them down, taking a sip from one, then a sip from the next, then a sip from the third, until they're all gone. He then orders 3 more. The bartender says, they'd be less likely to go flat if you just bought them one at a time. The man says, "Yeah, I know, but I have two brothers. One is in the States, one is in Australia. When we all went our separate ways, we promised each other that we'd all drink this way in memory of the days when we drank together. Each of these is for one of my brothers, and the third is for me." The bartender is touched and says, "What a great custom." The Irishman becomes a regular in the bar and always orders the same way. One day he comes in and orders 2 pints. The other regulars notice, and a silence falls over the bar. When he comes to the bar for a second round, the bartender says, "Please, accept my condolences, pal." The Irishman says, "Oh no, everyone's fine. I just joined the Mormon church, so I had to quit drinking." Isn't that fun? I want to share one more before we'll go. And, Master said, many people, or who said it? Many people want to talk with God, mostly in an advisory capacity. And this is sort of a joke in that vein. 4 rabbis used to argue theology together, and 3 were always in accord against the 4th. One day, the old rabbi out, after losing 3-1 again, decided to appeal to a higher authority. "Oh God," he cried, "I know in my heart that I am right, and they are wrong. Please give me a sign to prove it to them." It was a beautiful sunny day. As soon as the rabbi finished his prayer, a storm cloud moved across the sky above the 4 rabbis. It rumbled once and dissolved. "A sign from God, see? I told you I was right, I knew it." But the other 3 disagreed, pointing out that storm clouds often form on hot summer days. So the rabbi prayed again. "Oh God, I need a bigger sign to show that I am right and that they are wrong. So please, God, a bigger sign." This time, 4 storm clouds appeared, rushed towards one another to form one big cloud, and a bolt of lightning slammed into a tree on the nearby hill. "I told you I was right," cried the rabbi, but his friends insisted that nothing had happened that could not be explained by natural causes. The rabbi was getting ready to ask for a very, very, very big sign, but just as he said, "Oh God," the sky turned pitch black, the earth shook, and a deep booming voice intoned, "He's right." The rabbi put his hands on his hips, turned to the other 3 and said, "Well?" "So?" shrugged one of the other rabbis. "Now it's 3 against 2. So, as one of our Sunday service topics says, truth is not democratic. This actually, listening to P.G. Wodehouse is always such a delight, and if you haven't gotten a chance to read some of his original works, this would be a perfect season to get acquainted with him. His turn of phrase is really so wonderful. I read a review, a literary critic talking about P.G. Wodehouse, and he described Wodehouse as being a musician of the English language. And that sort of made me raise an eyebrow at first, but he went on to explain that a lot of music has repetitive themes, and that even like in a sonata there will be the development of a certain theme over a few different modes or things like this. Even a symphony will do this, but that a lot of what a musician does is express the theme beautifully time and time again, or in slightly different ways to make it sort of fresh and new every time you hear it. And Wodehouse does the same things. Almost every single one of his plays are about, the same moronic young man and his love affair is going terribly awry, but they're just brilliant, and his dialogue is so utterly charming. Yogananda said that you should read one funny story a day. And for some time I read P.G. Wodehouse over my lunch every day, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, on that note, the problem with German food is that no matter how much you eat, an hour later you're hungry for power. I'm going to share just two more jokes, and then I'm going to turn the camera over to Tandava, who, as we all know, is incredibly creative, has a wonderful sense of humor, and is a very gifted musician. And he will close out our evening with two rewrites of classic Christmas songs that I'm sure you'll recognize, but set to new and interesting lyrics. And then actually, to conclude the program completely, he'll read a rewrite of a classic Christmas poem that I believe was actually done by his grandfather, and will be a nice way for us to bring all of our joyous spirit to a focus. So now, this is just a few more jokes out of this lovely book. Moses trudges down from Mount Sinai, tablets in hand, and announces to the assembled multitudes, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is I got them down to 10. The bad news is laziness is still on it. And then the last joke that I'd like to share is actually, and the reason I'd like to end with this joke is simply because the first time I heard it was actually from Nayaswami Jyotish. And it's important to remember that as we develop on the spiritual path, our appreciation and our sense of humor only grows. We don't become dour and dark, but we are able to laugh with the joy of God with all creation. And that was a wonderful, it was such a fun experience. Jyotish came with Devi and they visited Los Angeles, and I got to spend a very casual afternoon with them and with Narayan and Dharma Devi. And in this particular occasion, we walked to a nearby area, Larchmont Village. For those of you who know Los Angeles, it's a very charming sort of like outdoor mall kind of thing. And we were going over to enjoy like a cup of coffee or lunch there. And as we were walking down the beautiful streets of like springtime Los Angeles homes in this beautiful neighborhood, we started like swapping jokes. And at first I was a little bit uncomfortable sharing jokes with the spiritual directors of Ananda Worldwide, because God forbid, what if my jokes weren't funny? But then Jyotish hit me with this joke, and I was able to relax a little bit after that. A man goes into a bar with his dog and asks for a drink. The bartender says, "You can't bring that dog in here." The guy, without missing a beat, says, "Oh, this is my seeing eye dog." I'm so sorry, man," says the bartender. "Here, the first one's on me." The man takes his drink and goes to a table near the door. Another guy walks into the bar with a dog. The first man stops him and says, Hey, you can't bring that dog in here unless you tell him that it's your seeing eye dog." The second man graciously thanks him, goes to the bar and asks for a drink. The bartender says, "Hey, you can't bring that dog in here." The man replies, No, this is my seeing eye dog." The bartender says, "No, I don't think so. They don't use chihuahuas as seeing eye dogs." The man pauses for half a second and then replies, "What? They gave me a chihuahua?" That's commitment. Gotta commit. And actually there's one more joke that I discovered in this book, which I heard Swami tell, and I'll end it in honor of that. That Swami was talking about people become so skeptic in the world that it robs their ability to see truth even when it's hiding in plain sight. And the joke he used to illustrate that was a scientist and his wife were driving along a country road, and the wife, just gazing out the window, observed to her husband, "Oh, look, honey, they've shorn the sheep." And he, gazing out the window, says, "Yes, on this side." So let's learn to lighten up, see the world for what it is, as a divine play, one that we can play and laugh with God in. And let's now pass over the baton to Tandava, and I hope you enjoy his wit, humor, and his music.
Hello, friends. This poem is a spiritual adaptation of The Night Before Christmas, and it was written by my father, Robert Walden. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the earth was the light of love shining. Have yourself an esoteric Christmas. Meditate all day. When you're still, your karma will be far away. yourself an esoteric Christmas. Gaze into the light, see the dawn where others see the dark of night. Christ was born as a baby who would be easy to adore. He'll live again where devotion starts, here within our hearts once more. Kundalini rises up the spine now, as the masters say, and consciousness expands in the most natural way. So have yourself an esoteric Christmas day. I'm dreaming of a bright Christmas, lit by the star the wise men saw. In meditation they saw salvation born as a baby in the straw. I'm dreaming of a bright Christmas. I see his love shining around. May your peace and blessings abound every year when Christmas time comes round. I'm dreaming of a wise Christmas, like those great saints of long ago. While the snowfall glistens, a yogi listens for the sound of home that fills his soul. I'm dreaming of a wise Christmas. I think I'll meditate all night. May your joys be many and bright, and may your Christmas be always full of light. Hello, friends. This poem is a spiritual adaptation of The Night Before Christmas, and it was written by my father, Robert Walden. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the earth was the light of love shining, a holy new birth. Forgiveness completed, all judgment aside, my conscience was clear, with no hint of pride. My worries behind me, I'd put them to bed, while visions so heavenly danced in my head. The job and the family, all routine, a snap. Unaware, I was into a spiritual nap. When out of the calm there arose such a clatter, my life was unsettled. Now what was the matter? Away from my habits I flew like a flash. I threw off attachments, and then came the crash. The feeling was alien, nothing the same. I couldn't describe it or give it a name, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a blaze of white light, and coming so near was a little old angel, so lively and quick that I knew in a moment I was going to be sick. More rapid than eagles his values they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. More honesty, tolerance, gentleness, trust. faithful and generous, with patience a must, to topple defenses and breach the fear wall, now dash away, smash away, drop away all. And just as the leaves in a hurricane swirl, or a dancer will leap, or will jump, or will twirl, so up in the air all the pieces they flew, and I felt when I looked, I'd see everything new. And then in a twinkling I felt with a start the growing and glowing, expanding my heart. As I came to my senses and was turning around, I saw in the mirror an image profound. He was bathed in bright light from his head to his toe. His clothes were quite common, so no one would know. The weight of the world had just dropped from his back, and he danced like a peddler devoid of his pack. He moved and he walked with a sense of great ease. His lack of self-judgment made him easy to please. The smile of his mouth was the shape of a bow. It would light up a crowd wherever he'd go. His relative silence bespoke inner peace, letting all in his presence experience release. He had a bright face and a happy, strong laugh, which touches the heart, cuts resistance in half. He was loving and kind, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a nod of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work. He listened within, a somewhat strange quirk. But touching his hand to the side of my face, we joined, became one, with no distance or space. I knew in that moment just what my gift was, to love all my brothers with no why or because, and I'm here to exclaim as I grow in love's light, Merry Christmas to all. It will turn out all right.